Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule to join us for this Granville Towers virtual orientation presentation. We do have several slides prepared for you today, but before we get into the meat and potatoes of our presentation, I did want to take a minute to introduce the faces you see on our screen. I'm Allison Henson, and I'm the Leasing and Marketing Manager here. I have been with Granville since August of 2008. I'm originally from Charlotte. I'm a proud mom to two Bengal cats, Calvin and Addie, and I also enjoy long walks and hiking through the woods of Western North Carolina. With me today, I have my wonderful colleague, Brian. I'll let him introduce himself.
Hey everybody, my name is Brian. I've been with Granville Towers in Greystar for a little over a year. I absolutely love it. I was born and raised in upstate New York, but the South really was where I wanted to live, so I decided to make the trek down here many months ago. I love to play hockey, love being active, and love to cook. So look forward to seeing you all guys soon.
Thank you, Brian. Before we get too involved in very specific details, I wanted to take just a second to explain how Granville Towers is structured because it is somewhat unique. Granville Towers is owned by the UNC Foundation, which is basically the university's private real estate arm. Granville Towers is managed by a company called Greystar that employs Brian and I, and Greystar manages the day-to-day operations of the community, which includes leasing, payments, maintenance requests, housekeeping, front desk service, and all the things that are kind of the nuts and bolts of living here. On the other side of the coin, we have Carolina Housing. Our partnership with Carolina Housing is basically in place to make sure that all of our students get a comparable experience to what they would in any of the campus residence halls. Our resident advisors are supervised by two full-time master's level professionals called community directors, and they work together to coordinate lots of fun programs and events for your incoming student throughout the year. They also are the ones who will get involved if there are to be any sort of roommate disagreements or suite mate issues. They will be the ones to help facilitate that mediation process. Now, let's talk a little bit more about important dates. June 15th through the 16th is going to be the days when your student will receive their room assignment. July 1st is when everyone owes a payment. We'll get into why I emphasize everyone in just a second. Late July, our students will receive an email with instructions for how to go online and upload their Granville Towers ID card photo, as well as information about how they can fulfill the liability insurance requirement. Let's talk about room assignments for a second. Some of your students might have signed up for Granville with a temporary email address that they set up when they were doing college applications, or they might be using an address that will be shut off as soon as they graduate. For that reason, please make sure that we have your students' updated email address so that no one is panicking on the days the room assignments come out. We definitely don't want any frantic incoming residents. In addition, the student also needs to know how to access the resident portal, which is the same software program that you all used when you were initially signing your lease. The resident portal is also going to be a place where your student will be making payments later or submitting maintenance requests. So it's good for them to go ahead and master this tool in advance. I mentioned payment a minute ago, and I emphasized the word everyone. The reason I emphasize everyone is because at Granville Towers, we offer two different payment systems, or schedules rather, 2 semester payments and 9 monthly installments. In addition, we do have students who use scholarship, loans, and grants to pay for part of their room and board costs at Granville, and those students are on what is called a deferred payment agreement. For this reason, it's not always easy to just answer the question of, how much do I owe? We rely on every resident and their guarantor to consult the lease, page 2, to find out what they owe and when their payment dates are due. In addition, we do not send invoices home. That is why you have your lease, so you can refresh your memory as to when all of that money is due and on what days. We take several methods of payment. You can mail in a check, cashier's check, or money order. You can also pay online with our resident portal. See, there's that resident portal again. The resident portal can be accessed at our website, which is www.granvilletowers.com. On the online payment portal, there are several different options you have for submitting a payment. The first that I would like to discuss is the e-check option. The e-check option is really great because there are no processing fees associated with making a payment in that form. It's very important to remember, though, that you can only use a standard personal checking account if you are going to choose the e-check option. We also accept payments via credit card, by Visa, MasterCard, Discover, and American Express. In those scenarios, the fees are going to vary based on the amount that you are trying to submit. And finally, you can pay with a debit card. The debit card carries a flat fee, so that is going to end up being cheaper than making a credit card payment. We mentioned that we would be sending instructions later in the summer about how your student can upload their photo for the Granville ID card photo. Oftentimes, people are wondering, well, what exactly does that Granville ID card do? Your student's meal plan is going to be housed on their Granville ID, so whenever they go into our on-site dining facility, the Agora, they will present that card to an employee, and that employee will run it through our little checker. In addition, the Granville ID can be used to pick up packages from the West Tower front desk, and it's important to note that our ID is separate from the UNC One card. So quite often, this is where I'm frequently asked, so I have two IDs? Yes, a Granville resident will have two IDs. They'll have their Granville ID, and they'll also have their UNC One card. Now, if a student misplaces his or her Granville ID, there is a way that they can get a temporary loaner ID to use while they're trying to locate their first one. In those scenarios, a student should report to the business office that they have temporarily misplaced their ID, and they will give the business office a $20 deposit. At that point, the business office will transfer their meal plan to the temporary ID, and within a week, if the student has not found that ID, then they will need to come back and report their ID lost, and the business office will actually hold on to that $20 deposit, and that can be basically used towards the purchase of a new ID. If the student initially misplaces their ID and they know it's lost, then they should just go ahead and pay for a replacement at the business office and get a new card made. So I mentioned the meal plan on the previous slide. It's very important that you understand how the meal plan works at Granville Towers. The Agora has great hours. It is open Monday through Thursday from 7 a.m. until 8 p.m., Friday from 7 a.m. until 7:30 p.m., Saturday and Sunday from 10 a.m. to 7:30 p.m., and then we also host late night dining Sunday through Thursday nights from 8:30 p.m. until 11 p.m. In addition, our meal plan is not interchangeable with the campus meal plan. Granville operates its own dining facility, whereas Carolina Dining Services is managed through a much larger corporation called Aramark. Aramark manages dining facilities in all different types of locations across the world. In addition, when we're talking about the meals, please consider that one meal is really one swipe of your Granville ID. Let's investigate this concept further. Your meal plan is going to vary based on whatever you selected at the time you sign your lease. There are three different options: the 100 block plan, the 160 block plan, and the unlimited. With the 2 block plans, basically what that means is every time you go into the Agora, it removes a swipe. So you would want to be very diligent about how you're using those swipes. The 100 block plan roughly equates to about 6 meals per week. The 160 block plan equates to roughly 10 meals per week. The unlimited plan is exactly how it sounds. It is truly unlimited. We also have guest passes built in with the unlimited plan so that everyone with that particular option can actually treat a friend or family member, hint, hint, to a meal at the Agora by using their guest passes. So with the unlimited, the students start the semester with 10 guest passes. If your student has one of the block plans, they will simply go to the check stand and tell the person working that they need to use 2 swipes, one for themselves and one for their guest. We know that sometimes it's really hard when you're signing leases over the winter term to know how your student will eat for the upcoming year. So there is some level of flexibility regarding when you can make those changes. The deadline to reduce the meal plan was actually on June 1st, so you should have received those emails. So now the only change that would be coming up in the future would be an increased request. We actually don't take requests to increase the meal plan until September 8th, which is the Tuesday after Labor Day. The reason for this is that sometimes in the past, students would upgrade their meal plan during move-in And then as they got their class schedule finalized and established a routine, they decided that they no longer needed that larger meal plan. That always presents challenges when we're talking about getting everyone's account and payments squared away. So therefore, we started instituting this policy that meal plan increases would happen after the semester had begun classes and people would have more established patterns as far as where they eat and when. Changes for the spring semester will be accepted from October 15th through the 31st. On the morning of October 15th, everyone will receive an email indicating that they are able to request a meal plan change for the spring and they need to complete a form online. Moving ahead to the spring semester, if a student wants to increase their meal plan for the spring, they can begin submitting those requests on the Tuesday after Martin Luther King Jr. Day. You'll notice that there's an email address on the slide for Megan Hess. She works in the business office. Megan is the one who can assist you with a meal plan change request after the semester has started. Her email address is Granville Towers rsm2@graystar.com. There are occasions when students might run out of meals and they're unsure of how to proceed. At that point, we would guide you as to what makes the most sense financially. If your student comes home for Thanksgiving break and only has exams and a couple days of class left, and they have reported to you that they've run out of meals, we would encourage them to just do a 10-block reload. The 10-block reload costs $90 and can be paid for in the business office. At that time, an employee of the business office will load 10 additional meals to your student's meal plan, but those meals will be set to expire at the end of the semester. Alternatively, if your student comes home for a fall break and informs you that they are running low on meals, we would probably advise you at that point to go ahead and upgrade to whatever the next step is, because your student is not going to be able to sustain themselves very easily with a 10-block reload, not for that long in the semester. One aspect of Granville that is both attractive but can also be a source of frustration is parking. Several students are able to park with us. They did have to go through a separate application process, and only vehicles with valid, properly displayed permits are allowed in our lot. Parking permit holders should park in spaces marked Granville Permit Only. Please note that the spaces are not assigned. They are just wherever the student can park that also is labeled Granville Permit Only. We do also offer parent or guardian parking, which is free for up to 2 hours. If you are going to be visiting your student, you may come to your student's Towers front desk, tell them your vehicle information, and then you can get a pass to display in your car for up to 2 hours. It's important to do the parking pass first when coming to see your student, because otherwise your car may be towed in the meantime while you're hanging out with your student. We also sell a limited number of daily parking permits, and those are sold at the South Tower front desk. Those are going to expire 24 hours from the time of issue, and you are not able to buy several days in advance. We basically start each new day with the ability to sell a certain number of daily parking passes. Mail and packages. We know that your student is going to probably order some things, maybe some textbooks or a Halloween costume or presents to give their wonderful families as birthdays come up throughout the year, and we want to make sure that your students get those packages. We have the screen displaying the proper way to format their address, which is going to be the student's first and last name on the top line, and then on the second line, we would like for you to put their room number, then Granville Towers Lane, followed by their tower. The final line is going to need to say Chapel Hill, North Carolina, 27514. Now with that middle line, we frequently see people putting in their room number, but then they don't necessarily change out the tower based on where their student is assigned. It's very important that when you are sending your student mail or packages, that they format that middle line properly so there are no delays in getting mail and packages to the right person. Mail is actually distributed in each tower's basement because all of the residents in that tower have a mailbox located there, whereas packages are distributed at the West Tower front desk. We do send notifications to the students when they have packages via text message and/or email address. They will be prompted to opt in for these types of alerts at the beginning of the school year. We also have an excellent maintenance and housekeeping team, and we want to make sure that your student's stay is safe, comfortable, and secure. With maintenance, we can't fix it if we don't know about it. We do have a team here 7 days a week and after hours emergency response, so please take advantage of that. If there's something wrong with your room, please go to the resident portal and submit a request so we can get it fixed. That could be for things like burned out light bulbs, a towel bar that has fallen, or maybe the blinds fell. Alternatively, if there is an urgent issue in your room, like there's water, smoke, or something of that nature, those maintenance requests should be reported immediately to the tower's front desk by phone or in person. Anything that is going to be of that level is likely going to cause damage in a very quick manner. So we want to make sure that those are addressed as quickly as possible. Housekeeping comes through and cleans your student's bathroom once a week. While they are there, they will replenish the supply of toilet paper as well as the trash can liners. Students are responsible for taking out their own trash and recycling. There is a trash room on each floor that has recycling bins as well as trash bins. Every student's room comes equipped with internet and TV. Residents, when they move in, should get out their personal computer, not a mobile device, and register for an account with Boingo. On the Boingo account, they will then be able to add all of their other wireless devices, and maybe even yours if you would like to be added. It's also important to note that no extra equipment is needed for the cable TV other than a coax cord. All you have to do is bring your TV, bring your coax cord, screw the cord in the wall, and then screw it in the TV, and it will start working immediately. One necessary evil of college is laundry. In every tower's basement, we do have a laundry facility that is self-service. It has 10 washers and 10 dryers in it, and you are going to use the laundry machines by downloading an app called Speed Queen. The Speed Queen app is going to allow you to load money to your laundry account, as well as start the laundry machines. And you can also sign up for text alerts, which will let you know when your laundry cycle is almost done. One aspect of it that I really appreciate is before I take all of my dirty clothes down to the basement, I can actually go and see how busy my tower's laundry room is to decide if now's a good time or maybe I should postpone it. Please note that residents must supply their own laundry detergent, fabric softener, dryer sheets, and all of those other types of items. We also wanted to give you a brief overview of what is in each tower. So we're going to talk about East first. So I mentioned earlier that every tower has laundry rooms and mailboxes, and there are a few other items that every tower has as well. So in the East Tower, we also have some special features like the 24-hour fitness center, the gift wrap station, the community kitchen, and a community print station. But in addition, we also have those other features as well, the laundry room and mailboxes. Please note that every tower also has vending machines and an ice machine in the basement. That helps you if you are staying up late after the Agora has closed and you still need a snack or caffeine. The other features of East Tower are its front desk, which is where you would check out the keys to use the gift wrap station or the community kitchen, and there are floor lounges on every floor, on floors 2 through 9. The first floor doesn't have one because that is where the lobby is. The floor lounges on each floor can be used for studying or socializing. They are equipped with TVs, sofas, as well as more structured seating that is better for an academic purpose. Finally, our design single rooms are located on the top floors of East Tower. That would include the Franklin, the Ramesses, and the Grandview. Let's move over to West. West also has your typical basement items, as I like to call them, laundry room, mailboxes, vending machines, and ice machine, but it also has its own collection of special features. West is home to our 24-hour fitness studio, our group study room, a ping pong table, the cyber cafe, and as I mentioned before, the package center at West Desk, and last but certainly not least, the Agora, our on-site dining facility. With those facilities, students can use their own fob, which they will be issued upon move-in, to access the 24-hour fitness studio, the group study room, the laundry room, and for the West Desk, that's out in the open. They don't need anything special to access that. They will just come up to get those packages with their Granville ID. They're also going to use their Granville ID to go dine in the Agora. The West Tower is also home to a few offices. My office, the leasing office, is located in the Agora, right outside the Agora rather, as well as the business office. I haven't really talked about the Cyber Cafe much, but that is where students can come up to a station. They will load their own paper in our printer, and they can print as much as they want in black ink for free. These stations are also distributed throughout the other towers, but they are smaller, so they are just called community print stations. Once again, West Tower also has floor lounges on floors 2 through 9. Let's now end with South Tower. South Tower is home to our 24-hour quiet study lounge. And on the first floor, we have our 24-hour desk, which is at the South Desk. That is 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. We also have our management offices located there and the 2 community directors. In South, we only have 8 floors, so you will find the floor lounges on floors 2 through 8. And then, of course, we have the laundry, the mailboxes, and the vending machines and ice machine in the basement. Now, let's talk about move-in and what to expect. So throughout the summer, we're going to send you lots of email blasts as well as different documents to help you prepare for the move-in process. Many of these will be listed on our website under the For You tab, and we're also going to add them to an app that we've purchased called Guidebook. If you've ever been to a professional conference, you might be familiar with the Guidebook app. On Guidebook, you can simply search Granville Towers. There is no password, and that will also contain a link to all of these resources, as well as a list of important dates, staff contact information, and much more. So a few of those items that students are always really interested in seeing are our room dimensions and measurements, a recommended packing list, which also covers what not to bring. We're also going to explain what actually comes with your room. So a few items that we frequently get asked about are window treatments, trash cans, shower liners, etc. The student rooms, regardless of what room type they're in, are going to have the shower curtain liner included, but they won't have a decorative shower curtain. In addition, all of the rooms do have blinds, but if students would like to add a little bit more privacy or darkness to their room, they of course are welcome to add curtains. And then your student will also have a trash can and recycle bin in their room upon move-in. We are partnered with a company called Collegiate Concepts to do mini fridge and microwave rentals, but you also can just bring your own. That is up to each individual resident and or his or her roommate. So with the mini fridges and microwaves, we don't have too many guidelines about those, just that it's not so big that it won't fit easily in the room. Mini fridges typically should be 6 cubic feet or less, and microwaves, they just can't have any extra features that make them a fire hazard. We also, on these various sources, are going to have links to undecorated and decorated Granville rooms to help you get inspiration for organization, layout, etc. Now, we mentioned earlier what is included with your lease. So it's going to include your room and board, which is, your physical room and your meal plan, but that's also going to include the utilities, Wi-Fi, cable, water, and trash. In addition, you're going to have access to the community printing, which we discussed on earlier slides, access to all of our amenity areas, and then entry to Granville events and programs. The 2 items that are not included are parking and laundry. Remember that parking has a separate application, and students would have put their name on our parking wait list shortly after they sign their lease. As far as laundry, that is all handled through the Speed Queen app that I mentioned previously. Move-in days. You'll see that this slide is kind of blank. That is because we have our check-in procedures and specifics forthcoming. We are waiting for guidance from the university to release more information about how the move-in process will work and if any adjustments need to be made for timing due to COVID-19. We do feel that it's highly likely that students will have to schedule an appointment to move in order to maintain crowd size and manage social distancing. That is not done to be an inconvenience. It is done for your student safety and your families, as well as our employees' safety and our families. Thank you for being patient and understanding with the upcoming check-in process, because we do feel very confident that that will be a big facet of our move-in moving forward. Once we have all of our details hammered out and things are more concrete about the fall, we will send you an email letting you know all of the updated information. We'll also post information on our social media pages. So please make sure to follow us on all of the social media platforms you have: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, all of those. Finally, we did want to let you know that we are here for you even though you can't see us for questions. We really appreciate that you took time to attend our presentation today, and we want you to know how to get in touch with us if you have questions after your orientation session has ended. Please feel free to give us a call at 919-370-4500 or by emailing us at granvilletowerslease@graystar.com. I will spell that for you. GRANVILLETOWERSLEASEAT@GREYSTAR.com. Thank you so much for your time, and we are so excited to welcome you in the fall. Bye.
Bye.